A very good morning to our viewers at home. So today in the studio we have a very esteemed guest with us, Professor Udit Jayasinghe Mudalige. Professor, how are you today?
I'm good, really good.
We'll start off the interview with asking you a little bit about yourself. So firstly, could you kindly tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay, of course, my name is Udit Krishantha Jayasinghe Mudalige, right? Okay, that's my name. I attended to the Royal from 1979. So we did the first 40 students of that Royal entrance exam at that time. So I was selected to the first class, that is 6S1,
Yes, sir.
with Miss Karya Peruma. And thereafter, I did my A-levels, 1987.
All right, sir.
And anything you want to know? So by now I'm married, one son, one daughter.
That's it.
By birth they are Canadians. So my son is now doing his third year in biomedical sciences in Carleton University, Ottawa. My daughter also attending high school, grade 13 in Ottawa. And my wife is not working because she's looking after son and daughter there these days because of these all sort of diseases and, troubles.
Well, that is indeed sorry to hear. So it seems that the apple does not fall far from the tree.
Yes.
Sir, what do you teach as a subject and what faculty do you teach in?
Right. If I go to my subject of teaching, my first degree is BSc Agriculture. Then my master's is from Agricultural Economics and Business, and my PhD on Food Economics and Business. So what I am teaching right now, I am not much teaching because of this position, but I used to teach, especially in the areas of food business economics, agribusiness, value chain management, sort of how the agriculture is linked with food sector of the country and how we are going to make a value chain. So that's my subject that I was teaching. In addition to that, I am a certified project management, development project manager. So I was teaching project management subject. Also a chartered environmentalist. So I was teaching environmental related, especially related to economics and ecological based subjects in the environment area. In addition, when I'm going to teaching, it's not only confined to the students of the university. Beyond that, we taught to the postgraduate and going up to the PhD supervision on various areas. Beyond that, my big teaching area was teacher training and development. So, as the senior fellow of Staff and Education Development Authority of the UK, so I have been involved with training of the university teachers for teaching and learning in various areas in teaching, learning, assessment, professional development. So it's very diverse area, not confined to something. If I want to teach statistics, I will teach. Undergraduate level, any subject is comfortable. Postgraduate level, selected subjects, but it is possible for me to teach in many areas, but basically it is food and agriculture is the foundation.
So basically we have an all-rounder here.
I believe. I believe myself because I am developed from Royal.
Yes, sir. So before taking your first steps toward the University of Coimbatore, you were first and foremost a royalist.
Yes.
So would you say that being a royalist influenced your career choices and who you are today?
Of course, yes. Very first thing, it's learn or depart. That was my motto also. Today's my motto, if you go to my emails, you would see excellence is not an accident that I am using. The base of that is learn or depart, right? You will have to do or depart. So I always believe, being a royalist, so starting from day one of my university career, even before that, when I want to do something, I plan it, then do it. Do not stop at that point. I monitor it, whether I am right or wrong. I adapt into that one by correcting my failures, and then replan and do another thing. So that was we learned from our studentship in the Royal, right? It was a big competition, you know. We were in the 6S1 and 7S3, 8S4, 10S10 likewise. When it's come to A-level, it was very highly competitive. Yes. And so every time, competition gave us sort of inspiration to be more dedicated and learn.
An incentive to move forward.
Of course. So we wanted to go to universities. So we considered, if not, it was a failure. So when we went to university in my batch, there were 13 royalists.
Yes, sir.
So we were friends, and we want to be the royalist in the batch also. I became the top of the batch, and my friend who was in my 6S1 was also in my first batch in the university. So likewise, we have a very good culture, competition, facilitative learning culture. So all this help to proceed what you have learned from the Royal. It really helped.
So, sir, as a royalist, you have gone far in your field. You have reached the top pinnacle of who you would expect to be. And you are an eminent figure not only in Sri Lanka, but within the context of an international aspect of food science, agriculture and economics. So would you say, sir, that being a royalist helped you to get where you are? And would you say that the qualities imbued by Royal College helps you to color your personality more?
Really, yes. It is the truth. You know, saying honestly, in terms of sports, I am not such a good person in doing sports. I did, but you know, I can run, but I cannot defeat a good runner. So I thought doing sports is not a good thing. So I should go to another area, right? Then English literature, Sinhala literature, you know, Sinhala Sahitya at that time, my good friends were there. Two good friends, Sanjay, who acted as the Handya film at that time, and the Charita Disanayaka, who was the son of S.A. Disanayaka, they were my two good friends. So we were in the Sinhala Sahitya Sangame than in the English Sahitya Sangame, because we want to do some difference here. And good friends like Gayantha Karunatilaka, the MP, and so many other people, senior people there. So we did many things, like I was stayed in the hostel also for 3 years. Right? At that time, we have more time to be involved with the Royal, because morning to evening, evening to night, night to morning, we were the royalists because we are not going out. So that had a big chance of getting involved with the big guys. Like when we were in the 6th grade, we know the people in the 8th grade or 10th grade. Right? So this is very, very important. Even last week I met in such a case. The Vice Chancellor of the Rune University is a prefect of the Royal College. So when I was in the grade 7 year, so we were Vice Chancellors, but friends at that time. So this is the inspiration gave to us. When we are going up in the ladder, we always think in and get that inspiration, what we have learned, how we have behaved, right, where we were failed, what we have done. Maybe it is sports, maybe it is literature, maybe it is something other, but beyond the class. That concept I learned from the Royal, because we were always beyond the class. We don't want to confine to a class and get the 90s, 95s or be too much competitive, but rather we did very good studies. Always be out, form the groups, teams, see the matches, go to big match, all these things we did. Rugby, we were going by train, coming back. And so, because we were in the hostel, we had much more freedom also to behave in that way. So, as you said, Royal always helped because it is the best time, like when you from somewhere around from 6th year to the 14th, 13th year is the time that your behavioral pattern is going to be changed. For that, we got inspiration from Royal teachers. So that's very important. Yes.
So, sir, it seems to me that you chose your strengths, you planned out your strengths and weaknesses, and chose to focus on what you were passionate about, what you were skilled at.
Of course.
So, sir, would you say that your involvement in extracurricular activities helped you in any way after your schooling career?
Of course. So, I was in the debate team at the grade 6 and 7, and in the Sahitya Dine, we debated at the Navarangahala. I was a good speaker there, a little prominent speaker, and we prepared newsletters, right? We were the first to prepare such a newsletter and published. And likewise, so many extracurricular activities we did, and I did what is called this one, wrestling, with at that the coach was Mr. Rodrigo, because I thought I cannot do any other sport, but wrestling is good for me. So we did wrestling, and from that we went into the areas of Angampura, later. So these are the things, sir. So extracurricular activities you involved with, they really helped us. Today you are doing with this all equipment and everything after 30, 40 years. At that time we had small cameras. We have a sort of, what are the gadgets, calculator and so on. So rather than being focused onto your phone or to a whatever camera, we had nothing, only 2 hands or your legs. With that we'll have to enjoy and involve. So we did that part. Today also I used my phone and I use all sophisticated materials, but I believe my brain, heart, hands and my health. These 4 H things, I believe more than anything.
So it seems to me, sir, that your 4 H's, as you so eloquently put it, were very much influenced by your part in extracurricular activities. So it helped you build a multifaceted personality and helped you figure out who you were exactly. Speaking of who you were, sir, you were also once a child. So any child has a childhood ambition. So they aspire to be somebody great, somebody who achieves greatness, somebody who changes the world. Who did you want to become, sir, when you were a child?
Yeah, when I was a child, still, I would say very honestly, I want to be an educationist. Why? My father is so. Right, my father at that time was the additional secretary to the Ministry of Education. So at our home we had that environment, and my father's mother's brother, I should very much respect. Hemptekadara Jnana Siha and Hemptekadara Jnana was Nayaka Therosa Brahmanyanikaya. So they are very much educated professors. So they are coming to our home. They try to teach us, ask them to how to go ahead. So that means that environment at the home helped us pretty much to come into this position. So I don't want to be a sportsman. I don't want to be somebody who is working in the private sector as a manager, but I want to come into an area, non-private, non-government, where you are leading by yourself. So I wanted to be a university academic because we have much freedom to determine, further learn, make decision and make another generation. So from the beginning, it was there. You may not believe, when I did my certificate course in staff development. I was the first to complete that one with a portfolio in Sri Lanka in 1997. Right? So we were asked to draw a sketch out where you are going for next 30 years. I have very clearly indicated within next 10 years, 20 years time, I will go like that, lecturer, senior lecturer, professor, senior professor, and I will become vice chancellor at this stage. Thereafter, even I am thinking going beyond, more fellowships, or retain with this one, because I have another 12 years to work. The vice chancellorship may be valid only 3 years. I have another 9 years to work to the education system. If I want to be a minister, a good minister, royal minister, I would try to do so. So it's a gradual learning process where we develop our brains. As you very correctly said, I came into the position that I want to be even before that I have planned. So I'm very much happy with that one.
So, sir, so you said that your family greatly influenced your decision-making process into becoming who you are today. Except for that, sir, did society factor into your decision-making process when you were starting to think about what you wanted to be early on? Did society play a role in telling you this is what you should be, this is what you should not be?
Of course, when you say society, beyond my father, mother, now my wife and family, then the first thing in the society is the friends. Second thing in the society is your firm where you are working. So there are also 3F, right? So for me, I manage my family. Beyond that, I always wanted to go. So I had a good set of friends. So my inner circle, so inner society are my friends. So my royal friends, then my university friends, then friends in society. They may be from very poor farmers to a very rich entrepreneurs. They may be undergraduate to a very most senior professor. And so that range is quite, from a very small level to a very high level. So that is the society for me, right? So you may not believe at times on the last day of the war in 2009, I don't know how old you are at that time. How old you are?
I believe I was in the first grade, sir.
Yeah, you were in the first grade. We were somewhere after getting our degree and everything, we were when it's come to 2007, 8, 9, sort of senior lecturers, but without much exposure. So it's a good time, the war gave us a good time to be exposed into the universities in Jaffna, Eastern, because nobody wanted to go there. Most senior people, they're reluctant to go there. I decided, okay, this is a very good time to go and see how these people are using brains, how these people are using their hearts and hands to stay with the war conditions in existing with the different ethnicities and religions. So we went there. So on the last day of the war, I was in Jaffna. On the day that the army captured Toppigala, I was at the Southeastern University, Eastern University. So these help us to understand how different people, society is working. So society may be farmers, maybe military, maybe very educated people, maybe politicians. We know almost all politicians by now, by their work, or we were working with them. So this was the society for me. We don't want to get into the society and be a partner of the society, but join with them, support to them, learn from them. So that was my society. It's a big society, You just understand, now it's my 20th in the university system. In my own university, I have 4,000 students. You can see in a year how many students we are producing. So I am working in the same way to 15 national universities, all 8 non-state universities. Beyond that, to the foreign universities, come up and down, I'm going and coming. So, and I'm a member, a life member of 17 professional institutes in Sri Lanka. They are working on very different themes and disciplines. So, if you ask society, my question is, who is that society? That much of societies, that much of groups we served. So I cannot say farmers are the best, doctors are the best, teachers are the best. So everybody who are in the road going for their work, they are our friends. I would say that.
It sounds like, sir, that you were a true pioneer. You trailblazed a path that nobody at the time had even considered. It's quite inspirational for me and for fellow royalists and fellow students as well who aspire to trailblazers themselves and to imbue that pioneer spirit in themselves. So it's quite convenient that you mention agriculture and how agriculture affected the northern and eastern parts of the island. Because as Sri Lanka is moving more and more towards an industrialized system of governance, and we are moving towards a future that looks extremely made of steel rather than the leaves and the trees, would you say, sir, that the field of agriculture is becoming less or more important?
Yeah, I would say this way. Okay, very good question. For especially at this time, there's a much high demand, and we are talking about agriculture every day, morning and evening by now. You know why? If somebody asks which country has the largest agriculture sector, most people would say India or some other country, Australia or Netherlands, something. But in terms of agriculture, the largest agriculture sector is with USA, right? USA has the largest agriculture sector in terms of their earnings. And China, India, these are very big countries. They are becoming second, third or fourth. But if you take the national contribution of that sector, agriculture sector of USA to its economy is 3%. Another 97% is coming from other sectors. But still it maintains its agriculture sector as the largest sector of earnings. It is very different in other countries. In other countries it is 40%, 30%. But in Sri Lanka, you being a small island, we don't have much land, much labor, much capacity to deal with extensive agriculture. So what we have to do is to go to the agribusiness or to the export-import economy with trade. In that case, if you see from 1970, I have done a lot of research and published in this area, you would see, in 1970 to today, after 50 years, our contribution, agriculture sector's contribution to our economy is around now 10%. 90% coming from others. But you know, if in terms of food security, that means availability, accessibility and utilization of food, I believe none of our citizens in the country is going to die without eating or just because of there is no food. That 10% gives food to the other 90% of people. That's why agriculture sector is important. You cannot work if agriculture sector correctly not produce or distribute. That's the doorstep of those people who are working for another sector. That's why I told, moving away from agriculture, I was working with the food business sector, agribusiness sector, to make farmers, those blue color people, into white color people. You know, this generation, your generation, people don't want to be a farmer with tambude and everything. You want to be a manager. But we can make you an entrepreneur, agribusiness manager, agripreneur. So who are working with the trade in agriculture, because at the end of the day, right, you are dealing with inputs from agriculture sector, food. Right? The world biggest market is the food market. Second is pharmaceutical market. So pharmaceutical market itself uses plants and animals. So that means you cannot think of a development of a country without agriculture sector. That's why USA, they sent man to the moon in 1969, but still they maintain the agriculture sector as the world's biggest earning sector. They know how hard will it be if it is not. So I believe agriculture, it should be the first sector. Fortunately, it starts with A, agriculture. So it should be A, right? Definitely. If you are going to make it a business, it should be B. All other things should be C, D, E, F. Otherwise, the country has no future, or you cannot go ahead with such a country. I believe even the HE and the government and the scientists and everybody understood that phenomenon. You cannot depend on others, you have to depend on what you have produced. So agriculture, food business is a must-do in all this.
So, the words of development, sustainability, growth, agriculture, economy, those words were a lot, carried a lot of weight and importance in your answer, which I must say was quite inspiring. So, would you say that agriculture plays a key role in sustainable development? Would you say that for an economy to grow and develop and prosper, agriculture would be an understated answer, that it's not an answer that people really look forward to listening to? Would you say that agriculture is the key to sustainable development?
Of course, but agriculture is key to have a very sustained, systematic society with the development. The first thing is how to measure the development. That's the issue. Right? Development may be issued number of 1,000 rupees notes that in your pocket, or how much you are earned. So that's one way. Another way, your satisfaction with your life. So it's a way we are going to measure the development. But being Sri Lankans, we have the best education, best health services, and nice in the world, most in terms of biodiversity, the best country. So if you take sustainable development from those point of view, health conditions, lifestyles, and what you are eating, food security, and not from money point of view, power point of view, yes, agriculture always lead into the sustainable development. Because of agriculture, environment is not going to be damaged if you use it properly. That's why when you say agriculture, we believe it's a paddy fields earlier. Agriculture is not only paddy fields. When you see agriculture, you would see tea, rubber, coconut earlier. They are not only things. Now today, you think about, see, urban agriculture, metro agriculture. See, even when you think about 20-story apartment, they are rather thinking about what plants are going to be grown on the top root. And when you are going to a hotel, you are thinking which hotel to go, whether it's in Colombo 7, near to Royal, or somewhere close to a tank which is giving irrigated water into a field. So ecotourism, medicinal tourism, all these terms are changing towards agriculture. So we don't want to tell there is no link between agriculture and sustainable development. Sustainable development should come with animals and plants and people. They should know how to use physical, financial resources. So problem is, some people, they don't know how to use financial and physical resources. It is not the problem with agriculture, plants or animals. The way we think, way our policy was set. So I am always telling, rather than from manufacturing fields or services fields, agriculture sector and its people contribute to maintain the sustainability and a sustainable society. They did it, they will do it, definitely.
You have immediately pointed out the importance of agriculture as a business model, and how agriculture is evolving, and how agriculture is no longer the same backwater rural occupation it once was. So there still exists a stigma in schools wouldn't you say that the education system of Sri Lanka needs to be changed to allow more students to be interested in this field of agriculture, this new upcoming field of agriculture?
Yeah, of course, but it should be done with a very clear-cut pathway. If I tell this way, people who are coming to the medical faculty, they are doing zoology, botany, and physics and chemistry, all 3 subjects. And people then come into the dental and even vet, they are not doing anything on agriculture. If you want to go to the agriculture degree, you don't want to learn even agriculture. I didn't learn. I did the first lesson in agriculture when I went to first year in the University of Peradeniya in 1990. Until such time, we didn't even learn agriculture. You believe me, even in the Royal, I didn't follow agriculture. We are not supposed to do it because we had other good subjects, English literature, that one, French, and so much demanding. Agriculture's importance was not highlighted that time. So people who are taking agriculture as a A-level subject, right, they are thinking that, okay, once you take the agriculture, you don't want to have a physics. So agriculture is a subject for those who don't want to do physics. So they are doing agriculture not because of they want to do agriculture, but they don't want to do physics. So this kind of system should be avoided. I believe, like in other countries, right, agriculture should be auxiliary, not a supplementary subject. It should be a core subject of the country. In all other universities, even in the world, even for medical students, medical is the second degree. For the first degree, you want to learn environmental science and a little bit on agroastrology, agriculture, agri-climatology, and these subjects because you are going to work in that environment. You don't know how to work. So zoologists, botanists, the chemist or somebody, they cannot just live within the what is called lab environment. We have a medical faculty. Even today morning I went there. Now they are growing medicinal herbs, plants and everything. Today is 17th September. We are supposed to do sort of tree planting today.
Yes.
So who did it? The medical people. So they understood the importance of being with the herbal, and because now the world becoming herbal, world become organic, your prescription is coming from plants, animals, so these things. So they believe if they had a good knowledge about agriculture, at least couple of subjects in the A levels, or your zoology or botany subject is dealt with agriculture, that would have been a better subject. Right? The botany, they never talk about agriculture, they talk about pure botany. Botany application is the agriculture. So at least you must have thought, right? In terms of Sri Lanka, what are geographical areas? What are the climatic regions? What sort of crops are important for that one? What is the importance of fisheries for us? What are the importance of irrigation? What is our irrigation system? The world-best irrigation system is with us. So people, they don't know, so they cannot do any other thing other than what they have learned therefore. But in other countries, it is not. So they have the choice and selection as well as core subjects to be followed. So I believe, right, since we must know something about food, it's important. Products, agriculture products and importance, at least at the O-level, it must be a mandatory subject to follow. It's not mandatory now. So then at least everybody knows what is agriculture and its importance. Yes.
And so, especially as an agrarian country that has been so for thousands of years, from the time of the Anuradhapura kingdom to the present day, wouldn't you say that it's almost nothing that's really difficult in Sri Lanka to implement a mindset where agriculture is a core subject in society? Because for 2,500 years, our main focus has been on agriculture. Wouldn't you say that in the 21st century, it's not something that's difficult to imbue in the Sri Lankan population that agriculture is still important. It is gaining even more importance now, more than ever.
Yeah, you know what has happened? We were called agriculture country, and now agriculture is in Rajarata, Ruhuna, or Eastern, or in the upcountry tier, all these things. When you come to Colombo district, no agriculture, but some ferry lands, this way. So people had some pattern. What has happened? When countries going from agriculture to services and other manufacturing sectors, internal migration happened. So that is called urbanization. So all people wanted to come to Colombo and suburbs. It is not because of they want to come, because things are available in Colombo and this one. Unless you pass Paligodu from this side, Moroto this side, or the Kotta or that side, no facilities, even hospitals, schools, not available. So in such a case, people who are rich and with power and educated, natural migration from rural areas to urban areas, where the capacity, desire, all these things were lost by this district. Anuradhapura, Ponnaru, when it come to that one. Ratnapura, Kagol, that one. Gol, Matara, Hambantota, that way. So all these areas lost manpower, although lands and everything there. Crops there, crops cultivated patterns there, but because there are no facilities, no channeling of inputs, there is no agriculture markets to rebuy all these things, it failed. So what? It is not a failure of product to agriculture, it is a failure of our system. Sri Lanka is such a small country. You would understand, Tamil Nadu itself, they have 5 times bigger, 5 times higher than people than Sri Lanka. So they have 26 provinces in terms of this. So they are doing everything. See, Sri Lanka, within 5 hours, 6 hours now, you can go from any point to any point. So in such a country, what do you believe? Is it a urban country? No, this urban-rural thing, agriculture, these things, so in our mindset, right? So if it become your lifestyle, right, you are going to accept. That's why horticulture, floriculture, apiculture, when it comes to that culture, it has a demand. But when it comes to agriculture, you believe agriculture is paddy, right? When it comes to tea rubber coconut, it is plantation. So I believe at least we should not talk about agriculture hereafter. We should talk about agribusiness, food business, and further divided into different areas, agro-climatological zones, and government should tell, you believe, you sit, you plant it, we will buy and distribute. So in that way, I am sure country will come to a certain level of, I would say, equilibrium, where the products are correctly distributed. One area is lacking, one area is in excess. They will be channeling their products to the world. So it is possible. Sri Lanka is such a small country. To make a decision and implement it, it won't take long time. Right? But in other countries, see how big they are in Australia, going from one city to another city, you'll have to go by plane. Right? In India it is, even Bangladesh. But this country, if you get it into the Mathara 2 o'clock, you can be in Colombo now, how much? At 4:30. So, in such a country, Murunga is not eating in Colombo, but when you go to Mathara, you buy Murunga. So it cannot happen in that way. So it's a failure of not in agriculture, the way people think and provided their facilitation or institutions were not developed purposely. I would say purposely they didn't develop those institutions and facilitative services that are needed to develop the agriculture sector, because then you cannot do trade, you cannot import and earn money. So that's the thing happened.
A very insightful set of discussions happened, Professor, on the way to this point in our conversation. So would you say that to change the mindsets of the Sri Lankan population, there needs to be an intense change in our education system? Your thoughts on our education system, sir?
Of course, I would tell this way. So, since I am an education developer and we have written books and books and books and giving a small short answer may be very difficult, but I would say this way. What our education system develops is only brain, right? Your mental skills. So you are knowledgeable, you can do this one, that one, highly knowledgeable person. That is the thing we did. In A-level, we purely did and doing that one. If you get 96 by doing something or other, so you are knowledgeable. But you can you use your hands, your psychomotor knowledge? Your psychomotor, that means how to use your skills. What skills you have? Communication skills, clinical reasoning, critical thinking, all these are not there with our students even. What you are doing here is very strange for other communities. You are doing a really good thing. See, you can communicate, you can pass the message, you can channel the message, which is not capable by even if you know everything by knowledge. So what I believe, our education system did not give that psychomotor knowledge and affective domain. I mean, how to use your heart to treat others. So we do not feel about others, how poor they are, how privileged they are. So we should have such a feeling. So education are purely based on knowledge, not on, I would say, skills, nothing on attitudes, zero on mindset. So our KSAM model, K means knowledge, it is there. S, skills, little there. A, attitudes, they are not positive. M, mindset, it's not developed. Such a country is very difficult to develop because you don't feel with only brain. You have to feel, you have to have a heart, you have to have a good health, you have to have good hands to work. So with that, it would have good market.
So a very insightful and lively discussion happened between us, Professor Jayasinghe. Again and again, there seems to be the resounding message in Sri Lankans that our education system is forcing students into a specific set of jobs and not agro-business, as you so eloquently put it. Everybody wants to become a doctor, not because they necessarily want to become a doctor or they do not want to become an engineer or any of the standard professions that are accepted in our society. Would you say that this is because students are not pushed enough to do extracurricular activities or are restricted or are discouraged from doing extracurricular activities?
Yes, you know why? We are teaching for A-level 2 years, right? One subject 2 years, 3 subjects 2 years, going tuition and getting that knowledge. Exam is on one day. If you miss that day, what will happen to you? If you get a small headache on that day, morning, what have you learned for the last 12 years on that day, if you cannot convert into a paper, your entire career to become a doctor or an engineer or somebody is lost. Can it happen? Right? Your entire career is going to be decided by one exam in a one-day paper. So you don't have any choices, you don't have any flexibility, you don't have chances to show your skills. In such a case, right, if the medical faculties are taking 600, I would say definitely all these 600 are not the brightest people who cannot use their brain and all sort of skills. They were lucky people. On that day, they were able to write good answers for that paper. That's it. For those answers, which can be written by many other people also. So it's not to insult good people. Whether we produce the right, correctly skilled people is the issue. So our assessment system should be from such a summative system to a formative system where from grade 6, 7, 8, 9 to your performance to be evaluated. But if you go to developed countries like Canada, I know very well, very personally, because I involved in the system. Starting from grade 6, 7, 8, 9, they know they are definitely going to university. because they have that choice. When you are in the grade 13, everybody who wants to go to university, they can go, because their marks, their GPAs, everything was added in this country. People who have passed the grade 5 entrance exams or scholarship, are they the best students in the O-level exam? People who pass O-level exams with the old A9s, are they the best people who have been elected in the universities? In the universities, are these the people who are the best who are doing? No, other people. When it comes to university, that's a sort of different environment. Your skills can be practiced to some extent. Other set of people are emerging. Right? Other set of people are emerging. So if you desire them, you can do it. A good example is mine. I never did agriculture, even in Royal or in anywhere. But I wanted to learn agriculture because I was elected into agriculture, unfortunately. I want to be a doctor. Fortunate, now I feel I am fortunate not to be elected to be a doctor. If I were a doctor, I would have been a specialist working from morning to evening, doing same thing. Not because I was not selected. I become economist, I become a staff developer, I become a professor, and I become a vice chancellor. To tell you this one, amongst the vice chancellor, I may be the youngest. Because I was not elected to do medicine. If otherwise, I might be still learning something to treat. Today, we are using them with our students. So that is the important thing. Our system must be changed so that skills, attitudes, abilities of people are evaluated across the learning system, not in a single day. I think it will be happening. If otherwise person who is doing art, he can never come into the science field again. People who did science, he can never go into engineering field again. You have no selection, no option. You have to go by the same pathway. So you should have the option to select subject, disciplines, go up and show your talents. That's the answer from me, small answer, but I have a very good answer. We have written books and books on that one, published papers on various areas on these, but that's a summary.
A very insightful conversation. We'll be taking a short commercial break and we'll be joining you on the flip side. Welcome back to the show. We are here in the studio with Professor Udit Jayasinghe Mudalige. So Professor, to continue our conversation, we were talking about involving extracurricular activities into the curriculum to promote unusual job paths and to improve sustainable development, economic growth, to increase awareness about agro-business. So do you have any message for the future generations, any message, any core message that you, from your heart of hearts, that you want to give out to the young Sri Lankan population that are aspiring to sit for their exams and succeed in life? Do you have any message for them?
The smallest message I can give is, always don't depend on knowledge and understanding part. Please go into analysis of things. Right? You apply your things in the society or somewhere. Beyond that, you try to evaluate things and create. So, education system should be set to create things from one hand, evaluate what others have created. That gives a right brain, right mindset. If you only confine to knowledge by cramming, and then I would say the bad term of vomiting on an exam paper, it will not work. So if the country to be developed, that should produce students with extracurricular activities where they can do self-evaluations, peer evaluations, and evaluated by society and others, plus very good, sound, strong mindset. So that would create a better society. That's my small message.
Thank you, sir, for joining us today. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. This was a very informational and insightful discussion that we had today. This was extremely important, not only for royalists and for people everywhere in the country. And I would say, if it's not too far a reach, it would be important for every person growing up in the world today. So a huge thank you to the Chemistry Club of Royal College for organizing this discussion, and a huge thank you to the professor. And hopefully our viewers have learned something of value about the importance of agriculture and agribusiness, as our professor has so eloquently put it. And hopefully we also hope that our royalists and other students and other people in general in society have taken something of value from discussion. Thanks for watching.